So, welcome to all of you. We wish you many blessings on your Lenten journeys, both personal and those connected to the whole world. And we know many of you are keeping the painful situations around our globe in your prayers. The Ukraine, for example, and the surrounding countries, but we don't want to lose sight of other areas. The conflicts in Palestine and Myanmar, Serbia, and many environmental disasters. So we hold all of these in our hearts as we welcome you to this important webinar on congregations journeying together with the Laudato Si Action Platform. My name is Sister Sheila Kinsey. I'm a Franciscan sister, daughter of the Sacred Hearts of Jesus and Mary, and I'm happy to continue with you this series, Sowing Hope for the Planet. And this campaign helps us coordinate our efforts to promote the Laudato Si Action Platform. We take guidance from the Laudato Si with these words. An ecological conversion can inspire us to greater creativity and enthusiasm. And our presenters for today will certainly enrich this message as they share their personal experiences and the ways that they are able to invite us into a journey with them. I want to show you again the importance of this tipping point. This is why we're working together and the urgent need for us to move forward in a bold cultural revolution, as we are talked about in Laudato Si. For a change is 3.5% change of the population that we want to engage in. And that's what brought down the Berlin Wall. But for system change, which we really want to consider as well, it takes 21 to 25% for this change. So you can see from this diagram, we have set a great initiative, but we feel that we can do this if we do this together. And that's what we're trying to do, journey together in a way that enriches all of us on this journey. And Pope Francis is clear about this call to cooperate with each other. He tells us that the world in which we live and which we are called to love and serve, even with all of its contradictions, demands that the Church strengthen cooperation in all areas of her mission. So this is what we have in store for you this afternoon. Beyond my welcome, soon we'll have Father Joseph Blay give us an opening prayer, followed by some messages of commitment coming from our two leaders from the USG and UISG, Sister Pat and Brother Emilio Ropes. The second session, we will deal with Father Jostrom Karithadam, who will help us learn what's going on in this discernment process. Followed then with a deepening of our understanding of what is involved with this platform by Maureen Villanueva. She has done much work in helping design and to really listen to us on our way. And then following, we will have some on the ground kinds of experiences working within our congregations and our provinces with Brother Roberto and Sister Greta. So that's what we have for us today, and we really are happy to have you with us on this journey. So to lead us in prayer, we have Father Joseph Blay. He's an OFM conventual. He's the executive co-secretary of the JPIC Commission of USG and UISG, along with myself. He holds a bachelor's degree in theology and a master's in global development and social justice from St. John's in New York. He's experienced in the International Board of Franciscans International and has experience as the director of a spiritual center. And he has many publications related to the impact of artisanal mining in Ghana and articles on peace and environmental issues. So we call on you, Father Joseph, to begin this session in prayer, please.
So let us put ourselves in the mood of prayer. As Sheila rightly introduced us, remembering in particular the events of the world around us. And today we want to just have a scriptural reflection on the Bible reflection for today. So let us listen to this beautiful parable which has been dramatized for us.
Listen to another parable. There was a landlord who planted a vineyard. He put a wall around it, dug a wine press in it, and built a watchtower. Then he rented the vineyard to some farmers and moved to another place. When the harvest time approached, he sent his servants to the tenants to collect his fruit. The tenants seized his servants. They beat one, killed another, and stole a third. Then he sent other servants to them, more than the first time, and the tenants treated them the same way. Last of all, he sent his son to them. They will respect my son, he said. But when the tenants saw the son, they said to each other, "This is the heir. Come, let's kill him and take his inheritance." So they took him and threw him out of the vineyard and killed him. Therefore, when the owner of the vineyard comes, what will he do to those tenants? He will bring those wretches to a wretched end. They replied, and he will rent the vineyard to other tenants, who will give him his share of the crop at harvest time. Jesus said to them, "Have you never read in the scriptures? The stone the builders rejected has become the cornerstone. The Lord has done this, and it is marvelous in our eyes. Therefore, I tell you that the kingdom of God will be taken away from you and given to a people who produce its fruit." When the chief priests and the Pharisees heard Jesus' parables, they knew he was talking about them. They looked for a way to arrest him, but they were afraid of the crowd because the people held that he was a prophet.
I have entitled this short prayer, a prayer for accountability. It was the initiative of the landowner to cultivate the vineyard, dig a well to water it, build a tower to surveil it against wild animals and birds, and to entrust it into the care of tenants. So our good Creator God has done everything to create a beautiful world and entrusted it to the care of human beings. As stewards, we are accountable to the landowner, our Creator God. We are also accountable to the next generation so that they can also be stewards and enjoy the goodness of God's creation. Pope Francis asks us, what kind of world do we want to leave to those who will come after us, to children who are now growing up? Unfortunately, human beings want to kick God out of God's own creation. We are not God. The earth was here before us. St. Pope Francis again says, albeit we want to change the order of nature, the moral order, and the divine law to our own convenience. Let us pray. Lord, when we have pushed you out, war has engulfed us. Lord, let us return to you to find peace and hope. Lord, when we have played masters of creation instead of stewards, creation has rebelled against us. Let us know our roles that please you. Give us hope. The world continues to torture and kill messengers of your gospel. Lord, protect missionaries throughout the world. They are signs of hope. O God, you have built great civilizations on the foundations of gospel values. Lord, make world leaders accountable to you. Give us hope. Glory be to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit, as it was in the beginning, is now, and ever shall be, world without end. Amen. Thank you for accompanying us together.
Putting us into a place of hope, because we're in that place we can dream. And yet you're calling us to be accountable for this Christian voyage, which we all want to have a vibrant part in making the world a better place. But you certainly pointed out the number of dangers that we have to face in order to make this world a better place. So thank you for sharing your reflection with us as we journey today. Thank you. Now we're moving into looking at what does this involve in terms of our own commitments. You know, we share this journey together, really being messengers of hope, as Father Joseph so well reminded us that we need to be. And we have two very important statements that have come out of our major superiors. One was taken place at the plenary of 2019, in which the major superiors gathered there, over 850, committed themselves to both personal and communal conversion and a wish to move forward together in an orchestrated and coordinated response, and listening to the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor as instruments of hope in the heart of the world. And they accepted this by acclamation. And in 2021, the Executive Council of USG in February expressed support for the Laudato Si Action platform and encouraged all their members, the USG members, the male religious, to join forces in a coordinated manner in the face of this important challenge. So to really send us forth on this spirit of commitment, we've asked the two executive secretaries of these two unions to speak to us. And we'd like to begin first with our sister Pat. She's an IBM. She's the executive secretary of the International Union of Superiors General. She served as the founding executive director of Solidarity with South Sudan, which continues to be a vibrant service in that area of South Sudan. And she served on the General Council of the Institute of the Blessed Virgin Mary. So, Sister Pat, we're here waiting to hear from you what words of encouragement you have for us for this journey going forward. Sister Pat.
Thank you very much, Sheila, for that introduction, and greetings to everyone from the UISG. As Sister Sheila introduced me, I'm Sister Pat Murray, and I serve as the Executive Secretary of the Union. And I'm here on behalf of the Executive Board to reaffirm our strong commitment as sisters to the Laudato Si Action platform, and to do that at local, national, and international levels. As Sister Sheila has pointed out to you, at the UISG Plenary Assembly in 2019, the Superiors General who were present there made a commitment to personal and congregational conversion, and a commitment to bring Pope Francis's encyclical to the center of the lives and ministries of their congregations and of the sisters in the congregation. And as you know, the UISG initiative had this title, Sowing Hope for the Planet. And you also saw how the USG congregations, the male congregation, subsequently became part of this important initiative. So it's fair to say that both as sisters and brothers, we have moved quickly to respond to Pope Francis's appeal. And I would like to say that under the extraordinary leadership of Sister Sheila Kinsey, the fruits of these past years are visible on the Sowing Hope for the Planet website, which details the many activities, resources, and initiatives which have emerged during these past years and which are being shared across congregations. Because we realize more and more that we can do much more together, much more in a fruitful and sustainable way. But now we know we're entering another phase as we enlarge the tent of our and engage in a journey with many others within the Laudato Si action platform. This is a further expansion of what we have already been doing. Sister Sheila's work has been recognized at the level of the Vatican and within the Laudato Si movement. And she now, together with Father Joseph Blay, whom I want to thank for that beautiful prayer, Father Joseph, but both of you are playing an important role in helping all of us to help create and sustain the Laudato Si action platform. Because the goals of the platform, if you look at them closely, are deeply embedded in all our constitutions. And within so many sectors, we're active, so we can really be seeds of hope within this new movement. And it's a movement not just for Catholics and Christians, but for people of many faiths and people of no faith. So we can build a worldwide community where these key values are operational. For some, the actions will be big and bold and visible. But for most of us, the actions are small and sometimes they seem insignificant. However, I remember visiting a community of my sisters in Peru, in a very poor community, in an area that was really an arid dust bowl on the edge of Lima. The sisters decided to begin planting a few flowers. They wanted to brighten the neighborhood. Within a short time, when I returned again, every family was carefully planting and nourishing their flowers. So the colors of these flowers became powerful signs of hope in that poor community and signs of beauty. So I often think of many of our actions as small seeds that we're planting to bring about transformation. Because we know that there are not two separate crises, one environmental and the other social, but Pope Francis tells us we have one complex crisis, which is both social and environmental. So I want to put out a challenge as I end my words today, because I feel that we have to begin to raise our voices now and to advocate on behalf of the people and behalf of the planet. Let us become creative in the ways that we advocate and call on our governments at local, national, and international level to help protect, nourish, and sustain life, especially for those who live on the margins of society and for whom this environmental crisis is an even more pressing reality. So yesterday, when I was preparing, I said, perhaps we need to create a wall of shame where we display photos of the environmental destruction taking place in our different parts of the world, which deeply affect all human life. Just an idea. So finally, I will end with the lovely paragraph 39 in Laudato Si, where it says to us, how wonderful is the certainty that each human life is not adrift in the midst of hopeless chaos, in a world ruled by pure chance or endlessly recurring cycles. The Creator can say to each one of us, before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. We are conceived in the heart of God, and for this reason, each of us is the result of a thought of God. Each of us is willed, each of us is loved, each of us is necessary. So my prayer is that each of us, at a personal and then at a congregational level, will play our necessary part and live our vocation to be protectors of God's handiwork. This is my prayer for all of us. Amen.
Thank you, Sister Pat, for sharing your enthusiasm and encouragement for us to be involved in this whole Laudato Si Action platform, certainly moving with the initiative of UISG and Sowing Hope for the Planet. And I think your creative idea might catch on. We just don't know what happens when we just say a little thing and people take and run with it. So we'll have to find out about that. Your support has been really, really important in helping us reap the results. In fact, for the survey from the constellation, we received 80% of the constellations responding to the survey, and those that didn't, they were in difficult situations. So I really thank you for your leadership and support of this effort. It certainly is bearing fruit. God bless.
Thanks very much, Sheila. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, now we're going to move on to the USG, which is the Superior Generals of our male congregations. And we have Brother Emili Turorofes, who is a Marinus brother, who is the General Secretary of that union. He's now the President of Solidarity of South Sudan, and he's been the former Superior General of the Maris Brothers for 8 years and also served on their General Council for 8 other years. So with that kind of background, we look forward to hearing his video and the message that he has to share with us as well. We have just a little technical difficulty. He's in Spain right now, but we're not hearing it from Spain. So just a second here. Okay. Is there a problem with the French? Okay. Ricardo, there's a problem with the French translation in terms of not being able to listen. Oh, well.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to solve the issue. I just was to
okay.
Christine. So
Okay, thank you. Okay, I will. We will go on to the next. We will find this statement because I certainly have it, and I will pull it up. So why don't we go on to our next part, in which I want to introduce to you the persons who will be looking at the chat, because there's going to be kind of an intense time in terms of a lot of information, a lot of questions. So that's going to be a part of that whole process. And so with that, I want to be able to introduce to you Father Josh Garithadam, who will also be the one who will be leading us into a period of discernment. What's been happening here with the dicastery in terms of this way of moving forward. So Father Josh, please, the floor is yours at this time.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sister Sheila. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to everyone. My presence here from the dicastery is an expression of the profound, deep gratitude to you leaders and to the religious orders you represent for the enthusiasm, for the commitment with which you responded to Pope Francis' invitation to join the Laudato Si Action platform. Often with Sister Sheila, we kid saying that the religious are the engine coach of the Laudato Si Action platform, and you are. So thank you very much. I've been asked to speak on discerning the way forward with the Laudato Si Action platform. And discerning, as we know, it's a theme very dear to Pope Francis. You know, that's the way we sit at the feet of the Holy Spirit as she leads us. I thought of sharing 3 reflections with you. I think as religious, we are called, as we discern, first of all, to be prophetic. It has been already said in the previous interventions that as we listen to the cry of the earth, of the poor, and of our children, and I precisely chose the image of the burning bush because it is the theme of the season of creation of 2022, where the scripture tells us of this experience of Moses, his encounter with this Lord of liberation. And the Lord said, I have indeed seen the misery of my people in Egypt. I have heard them crying out, because we have a God who listens to cries because of their slave drivers, and I am concerned about their suffering. So I think this is what we religious are called to do, first of all, to be prophetically listening to the signs of the times, to the cry of the earth, the climate crisis, biodiversity loss, scarcity of resources, water depletion, pollution, so many of them, but which has a human face. You know, it affects food security, it affects human health, it affects migration. People are leaving their homelands. And I always repeat one study that we did here at the dicastery with the sector for migration, which pointed out that today, ecological factors, climate crisis in particular, cause 3 to 10 times more displacement than all the other factors. So the cry of the earth, the cry of the poor, and the cry of our children. Pope Francis' own words, Sister Pat quoted that, you know, what kind of world are we leaving for our children, to future generations? So I think this is our first vocation as we discern the way forward, that we become more and more prophetic. A second reflection is that, or a call, is to contemplate. As we know, the etymology of the word contemplation, that together with, that we see the world as temple, as that place set apart, you know, like the Romans used to do, to listen to what the gods are saying. And I think this is a unique contribution that we religious can bring, you know, that we need to rediscover the sacrality of God's creation, as Father Joseph said so beautifully in the prayer entrusted to us. You know, this creation is not just matter. And that's again what Moses was asked to do. Take off your sandals, for the place where you are standing is holy ground. And the infinite universe, our earth is so unique. It's where God became one of us. John 1:14, God pitched his tent here. So earth is sacred, and we have been entrusted with the stewardship of this holy ground. And we need to become people who contemplate. Otherwise, I think we won't succeed. Recycling is not sufficient. We need to change the way we look at our home, planetary home, which is the planet Earth. And the third, is we need to act. Somehow I like the Neo-Latin languages, contemplation in French. It's from contemplation ends with action. It's not, being just standing away. That any real, genuine contemplation always leads to action. And so Sheila said at the beginning, time is running out. Right now, they tell us to remain within the 1.5 degrees centigrade. We have something like 80 years, less than 3,000 days. And the graph below, all the tipping points we could cross, the Greenland and the Amazon and the monsoons, the coral reef, so many of them. So time is running out. And so that's a mission. We need to go. So now go. I am sending you to bring my people out of Egypt. So let us be prophetic, let's contemplate, and let us act. I would say 3 more things and I conclude. And also the timeline. It's a journey we began several years, or in 2018, we began to pray over it and plan it. In 2020, in the month of May, Pope Francis announced the special Laudato Si year, in which the Laudato Si action platform was also mentioned. At the end of the Laudato Si year, on 25th of May 2021, Pope Francis officially launched with a beautiful video, all of us are familiar with that, the Laudato Si action platform. Again, Pope Francis, I'm very moved by the support we get from Pope Francis. He really believes in the Laudato Si action platform. He himself, on 14th of November, it happened to be the day after the COP in Glasgow, Pope Francis opened the registrations for the Laudato Si action platform, and that will carry on. And next important event will be the Laudato Si week. And this year, with the Laudato Si movement, we chose the theme of the Laudato Si action platform. So each of the 7 days will be dedicated to the 7 Laudato Si goals. We can think of the sectors in all creative ways. Again, to highlight the Laudato Si action platform. And we plan to end the first cohort batch of enrollments during the season of creation. That's up to 4th of October. So we have time, the coming months. So this is the timeline, awaiting us. And the next batch will begin next 14th of November. And as we did this year, we hope to repeat, from 4th of October to 14th of November, 40 days of prayer, which we think is important. So that's the first thing. This is the journey awaiting us. The second thing, it was already mentioned, that again, a contribution that we religious can insist. It's not just carbon neutrality or not even sustainability. It's integral ecology, that we keep all the 7 Laudato Si goals together to have this integral ecological vision. And the third, and with this I conclude, that we walk the synodal path. Again, Pope Francis inviting us. So first of all, the communitarian dimension, that we do everything as a community, that we celebrate. And allow me to insist on this, as we enroll, that in our communities, and I am a Salesian of Don Bosco, and I remember when the Salesian University enrolled, we had a beautiful evening. The entire academic community, led by the youth, young students of the dicastery of the university, they organized a beautiful moment of celebration, during which the president of the university, flanked by the young students, the professors, everyone, signed the enrollment of the Laudato Si action platform. So community, celebration, and creativity. And I want to conclude on that note. We want the Laudato Si action platform to be as flexible as possible. Maureen, after me, will get to the details of all those aspects. But just want to assure you that what we really hope and pray is that the creativity of each of our religious orders gets reflected, that gets translated in the way we carry out, we join, we realize the Laudato Si action platform. 2 days ago, it was with the Salesian sisters, the largest women's order, and the entire congregation is joining. And in that way, each of our founders had their own dream for the church. And now, listening to the signs of the times, this is the moment to bring their all these beautiful charisms into the Laudato Si Action platform. Want to really conclude saying that we are at your service. So the website, and I know some of you had difficulty with the self-assessment, and we are working on it, with the Laudato Si movement. And some of you know Sister Adele Howard. She has very generously come forward to help the dicastery, to help the Laudato Si Action platform. So I just want to assure you of this. Please tell us, you as leaders, what you want on the Laudato Si Action platform website, and we will put it there. We are at your service. So even the self-assessment is optional. We'll try to simplify those who want to do it. So whatever you want us to do, we will do it for you. We want you to join, because our prayer and dream is to initiate a people's movement from below. And Sister Sheila said it very, very well at the beginning, to rebuild our common home in collaboration with all people of goodwill. And we are praying that it becomes ecumenical, interreligious, so as to create the critical mass needed for societal transformation. So welcome to this spirit-led journey. So once again, thank you very much for your leadership, for your support, for your enthusiasm in joining, in taking forward the Laudato Si Action platform. Thank you very much, and God bless.
Thank you, Father Josh, for so movingly putting us forward in the spirit of the Laudato Si Action platform, and yet given us some definite directions that the first year is going to conclude on the 4th of October, and then we'll have that 40-day period of reflection and start up again on the 14th of November. So some people were looking for dates, and to know that the assessment is an optional activity, and that we're looking for ways to involve them going forward, that some of the questions and responses have been heard. So, and also you gave us a sense of the season of creation. I'm seeing they're going to be using some of these little slides to help them with the burning bush and carrying off the spirit. So thank you again, Father Josh, for this, for being with us and for your leadership on this journey. God bless you.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure working with you. Thank you.
Same with you.
Thank
All
you.
of you, I think.
Thank you. Thank you. So I think we found our video. And so before we move on, we want to hear from Brother Amili from our men's religious groups, what he has to say to us. So please, Catalina.
Un cordial saludo y mis disculpas por no poder estar con ustedes en directo como me hubiera gustado. Desgraciadamente tenía otros compromisos asumidos hace
My
tiempo.
apologies for not being able to with you. So I have actually taped this message. A year ago, when the dicastery for the promotion of integral human development was about to launch of the Laudato Si platform for action, the Executive Council of the Union of Superior General enthusiastically welcomed this invitation addressed to the entire Catholic world to enter into a process of ecological conversion in the spirit of the Laudato Si and integral ecology. For this reason, the Executive Council, aware of the importance and urgency of this issue, explicitly expressed its support for this initiative at its meeting of February 22nd, 2021. The Council sent a statement to all the congregations belonging to the USG, inviting them to join forces in a coordinated manner to face this important challenge. In this same statement that was sent to the Superiors General, also informed them of the availability of the JPIC Commission to encourage the congregations to commit themselves to the LS goals of the platform and to enroll in it. So specifically, they were invited to download a presentation that each congregation could use for the animation of provinces, communities, and members. And secondly, they were invited to share their own journey. Many communities and congregations, we already know that they are active on the ecological conversion front. Therefore, sharing experiences, materials, and working tools could be of great help to those who are still organizing themselves, as is already being done with the Sowing Hub for the Planet website. And finally, they were invited to a shared process, creating communion and synergy, led by the JPIG Commission. I seem to perceive a high level of interest among the superiors general in this topic, as well as a clear willingness to commit to the goals of the platform. So much so that the new Executive Council of the USG, elected last November, has already indicated as a priority for the next 3 years the care of the common home in the spirit of the encyclical Laudato Si. I want to thank the tireless work of our JPIG Commission, this work that they're carrying out on behalf of the two unions. Thank you, because you are truly sowing hope for the planet in these complex times in which we live. The Pope reminded us that this is the time for prophetic actions. And the Laudato Si action platform is without a doubt one of those prophetic actions. We want to be there in a decisive and unequivocal way, where life and care for the common home are promoted in response to the cry of the earth and the cry of the poor. Thank you very much.
Thank you too, Brother Abili, for your message of encouragement and for us to know that you are with us, certainly on this journey, and including our male religious as well, in as many ways as is possible, because we work at things differently, but we certainly are at this together. So your words mean a great deal for us on this journey. Thank you. Thank you. So now we're going to continue on with our questions and comments. So please know that as we get into some more of these questions, I saw some already in the chat, that Catalina, also is going to deal with the Spanish group, and Father Andreas will deal with this French group, and Father Joseph will be dealing with the English and Italian. And so after this next sessions, we will have a little break, a little pause for them to kind of collect these ideas. And then we will see what questions we can answer at that time, but some take a little longer. And so that some helps us prepare for other webinars, or also to give out information. So just know that not all questions would be answered at this time, because some really demand more thought. So this is what we're about now, the Laudato Si Action Platform, looking at the technical efforts, building on work that's already been done. So we really want to raise that up in a way that we can make it stronger and make the voice heard in all the way where we are. And look at some guidance, are there some other options that we need to be considered on this journey going forward? So that's what we're about at this point. So with this, I would like to introduce our next speaker, who is Maureen Villanueva with the Laudato Si movement, and she has background experience well suited for this work. The engagement manager for special projects at the Laudato Si movement, and provides administrative support to the Laudato Si Action Platform. She holds a bachelor's in architecture and a master's degree in organizational development and change. Very clear that she brings those skills. She's worked in implementation, innovation, and development of sustainable projects, mainly in education and nonprofit organizations, and is learning very well and sharing those skills with us in the religious sector, as well as all the other sectors as well, but we have personal experience with her at this time. So Maureen, I think that you'll be answering many questions that have been brought to us today and several days back. So Maureen, please, would you please share your wisdom with us?
Thank you, Sister Sheila. And if you could please confirm if the screen is okay.
Yes, it's good.
Thank you, and good morning to everyone. Good evening, good day. We are really grateful for your interest knowing more about the Laudato Si Action platform. And of course, of all the previous work that you have already done has been the basis of this journey together. The importance of your leadership, as already shared by Father Josh, it's crucial, and we are truly grateful for your interest and most of all your participation in the Laudato Si Action platform. It has been really well received by several communities, and we are working forward on the technical aspects that would help support all the work that you have already done or the work that you would like to be starting. This presentation would be addressing the most frequent questions about the enrollment process, the platform, and the latest updates. So the agenda of the topics generally that we will be seeing in this presentation would be general information of the platform, the enrollment, the process, and other sections of the dashboard. So why to enroll in the Laudato Si Action platform? Father Josh have already shared to us the spirit and also the heart of the platform. But just to mention that it is an action-oriented 7-year ecological conversion journey in the spirit of integral ecology. We are not talking about greenwashing. We are talking about integral ecology. And we are intending to support and empower families, communities, and institutions to achieve total sustainability in the spirit of integral ecology. It is a program and an associated website that equips Catholic institutions, communities, families, and individuals to implement Laudato Si goal on our real life. Looking forward to respond to this triple cry: the cry of the earth, the cry of the poor, the cry of our children, and the cry of our future generations. So as we might know, we have the 7 Laudato Si goals as our guide, as our path to participate directly in the 7 sectors. So as you know, we have these 7 goals: respond to the cry of the earth, respond to the cry of the poor, ecological economics, adoption of sustainable lifestyle, ecological education, ecological spirituality, and community resilience and empowerment. And as you might see, we have found the 7 sectors that we are attending, or the 7 sectors that the Laudato Si Action platform works with. It is sponsored by the Vatican's Dicastery for Promoting Integral Human Development, and it has been developed with a ground-up approach through a synodal process in partnership with diverse Catholic institutions and people, bringing everyone to the table, bringing all our gifts and charism to develop the Laudato Si Action platform together. As mentioned by Pope Francis in its encyclical, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So we are all together, as Sister Pat have already mentioned also, that we are working and collaborating together. So once you enroll, or why to enroll in the Laudato Si Action platform? Well, we are joining a global community in a journey to our full sustainability, committing to create ourselves and our community our own Laudato Si Action plan. Your enrollment will give you access to a personalized dashboard to plan your own journey and access to several resources. It is important to let you know to please build upon what you have already started. It's not for you to start from zero, but from what you have already started in several processes, projects, programs. And the platform is here to reinforce what you have already done. And it is really flexible to upload whichever plans or work you have already started. Well, this would be the framework of the platform, which upon the feedback in these last months, we have been making some updates, starting some tweaks, and first of all, responding to your needs. We have especially make some adjustments. As Father Josh mentioned, the enrollment is now optional. And we have a lot of possibilities. As you understand, there are a lot of sectors, a lot of language, a lot of currencies. So within these months, we have been learning together, but of course, looking forward to serve you and to have something that is useful for all of us. So we could have as a framework the planning guides, which are a way to reflect, to act, and to evaluate your progress to a Laudato Si to the Laudato Si action goals. And also we have a special place for community. This is also the heart and the spirit of the platform. How are we going to connect with each other and have this sense of community together? And now, as already mentioned, this self-assessment, it's optional, and it is a way to measure your progress from year to year. Father Josh have already mentioned the dates, but just to mention that we are in the latest updates and keeping up uploading some other tools. So if you haven't accessed yet the Laudato Si Action platform, we invite you to visit through this website, which we will show in a minute the link. We have availability in 9 different languages: English, Spanish, Italian, French, Portuguese, German, Polish, Swahili, and Tagalog. So you could choose the best for your experience. On the website, you will find, without enrolling, just by accessing to the website, you will have access to different sections of the platform. You will know more about the platform in the About section, and also find some answers to frequently asked questions. You will also learn more about the Laudato Si goals, about the names, about the description of each one. The community section, in which you can now see the plans and reflections of others, which have already started to share. You will know the partners that contributed with their experience and wisdom to build the Laudato Si Action platform. Know which are the members of the steering board and which are the working groups, leaders, and also members of each of the sectors. We will also be sharing here exciting Laudato Si stories from several participants around the world. So we invite you also to keep looking at this section especially. And a very also useful section, which is the resources. In this section, you are warmly invited to use the resources that would be helpful, that would offer concrete and practical expertise on actions that you would like to develop. Our partners has generously offered what they have already done, and you could be using them within your journey. Just to let you know that resources from Sowing Hope for the Planet will be also referenced on this section of the Laudato Si Action platform. At the events section, you will also see webinars, praying service, gatherings, seminars, also that could also help you on your journey. And this would also be available just by accessing to the website. You don't need to be enrolled. This is already available here. And now for getting in the next step, I would like to share this video that talks about the enrollment if you would like to know a little bit more about it. So this would be a video that will help you going through this process of enrollment, which we hope that would be useful and that it's also available on the platform. As previously mentioned, for those who would like to commit by creating their own Laudato Si plan, joining a global community working for a better future together, we invite you to make the enrollment on the platform. Just to mention that this would be, we have two options, the enrollment process, and there is also a section for a newsletter subscription. So just to make the differentiation, what makes it different is that on the enrollment, you would be asked a password. So this would be the basic characteristic to know that you are going to be enrolling in this process. So by the process, as you already seen, you need to click here on enroll, and then this would guide you through this specific process that we have already talked about. For those who have already been in relation with the topic, you might recall that there was this pledge before November 14. Just to let you know, if you have already made the pledge, you need to come back and make your enrollment process. So just encouraging you, please do. If you have not made this process of the enrollment, we invite you now to make this in this specific section on enrollment. Just to clarify, at the enrollment process, you would be asked if you would like to if you would like to share your information publicly. This means that we would like to have your information on the platform so that others could connect with you. By saying others would be other religious congregation, other schools, other university. So if you agree to be public here, then people will know that you are participating also on the platform, and you can start building connections. Also your local, for example, for congregations, you could know which local communities are also participating. So this is the basic message. So which sector should we enroll when I create an account? We have two basic types of enrollments, would be the individual commitments and the corporal commitments. So everyone, each of us is invited to make our individual commitment for families or individuals. And all of the others are meant for corporal commitments. So parishes, dioceses, this congregation, this is intended as a corporal. So this is especially to be in discernment as a community, that we will be answered as a whole as a community. But if any case, if you enroll accidentally by a corporal commitment, you can contact me, and then we will make these updates and changes on the enrollment. For the religious congregations and local communities, specifically, you might find that we have two types of interactions or two types of enrollment: religious congregations and religious local communities. Religious congregations, provinces, and institutes are invited to enroll at religious congregations. Their main participation would be related or toward making a commitment and supporting your local communities. It would be helpful to define a plan, including timeline, inviting local communities to participate, as well as a strategy to communicate the Laudato Si action platform to them. Define one person. We invite you to please define one person and email use so that local communities can be sending their information, because we have this special place for religious congregations in which you can define which would be the person to all of your Laudato Si, participants, local communities can be directed their report from the self-assessment if you decide to answer that. So just to recall, the participation of congregations, provinces, and institutes would be most related to policy making, guidelines for the whole congregations. So this would be mainly the interaction of congregations. And for religious local communities, they would be asked if they would like to share their information to a representative of your congregation. That is why it's important to have this interaction between congregations and local communities on which email to be sending. And the experience would be towards sharing your actions on your community. For national offices, we will be glad to help them and keep the conversation one-on-one to help any collaboration or special needs that you might need. As you are already aware, Sowing Hope for the Planet offers support, especially on the Laudato Si Action platform through Sowing Hope for the Planet. They have developed several resources available at their website, and some of them includes a brief summary with suggestions, the letter to major superiors, a commitment letter as a public document to express your commitment in the Laudato Si Action platform, to be addressed to the Dicastery for promoted integral human development, and also webinars such as these ones that help in the journey. So once you are already enrolled, you just now need to click on login and to start some of the processes that I would like to be sharing now. At your dashboard, you will find three main sections: the main menu, the sections for self-assessment, reflection, and plan, and where you can find the full planning guide. We firstly invite you to share and to read the full planning guide as a community. So what would be my process after the enrollment? Well, the dashboard shows 3 steps which you are invited to follow, but the reflection and the Laudato Si plan are the steps required to become or to remain a Laudato Si community. The self-assessment is now an optional step. As a platform is flexible, you may start with the step that you would like to. So if you would like to start uploading your reflection, you are welcome. If you would like to start with a Laudato Si plan, also welcome. So this is the proposed order: self-assessment, reflection, Laudato Si plan. But of course, the platform is flexible and you can start with the process that you consider best. Just to have a quick look on the optional self-assessment, you might find some previous sample questions that would be helpful, and you can start your process on the self-assessment. It would take around 40 to 60 minutes, and this self-assessment is relating to gathering information about your daily practices within each of the 7 Laudato Si goals. If, sorry, if you don't have the answers of all of the questions, please do not feel as a block. You can either place 0 or not available, or you can come back later with the answers, because it's flexible to place save, go back and have the answers, and then come back again and answer them. But of course, if you don't have the information, you could have these other options. So the self-assessment helps as a baseline on information to know how we are improving year by year. You will be, first of all, asked which is your contact information and your location. Then you will be asked the other section of each of the 7 Laudato Si goals. After that, you will be receiving a report that would be a resume of all of your questions. Just to remind that once you click submit, this would be sent. So if you would like to keep making some updates or changes, just to let you know to please just click save and then come back later to make these adjustments. The self-assessment will also help you to collect corporate data to share on reports. So as useful as it is for you, please use it. We hope that this tool is helpful in understanding where you are now, where you are today, and where you would like to plan to go on further. So once you answer the self-assessment, it will come out on green, and this would happen the same way in all of the other sections of the platform. This would be an example of the self-assessment report. It would be a 4-page document with some sample percentage of your relationship within the 7 Laudato Si goals and in relationship with others. And in the 4th page, it would guide you through a section that would be a resume of your questions and answers, which could be printed and also on a printer, but also to be saved on a PDF format. This would also lead you to know which would be your carbon footprint on a scope 1 and 2, a simple carbon footprint, but very useful for you to know where you stand right now. So this would also lead you to this type of report, which would also guide you through some of the suggested action, which are suggested. You are able to follow the ones that you would like, open to discern and to decide which would you like to go on, but of course to keep up with the ones you have already done. The other section would be the reflection. So you are also invited to see what others have already shared, what others have already done and uploaded. So please feel free to read them before you would like to upload yours. So what would be the reflection? It would be a reflection toward my values and my mission in connection with the Laudato Si goals. So this would be helpful for you to show your commitment, to show your congregation and your community. What would be your reflection? It could be either uploaded by a video or a document. You might select the way that you would like to be sharing it. If it's a video, you would be asked to share the link to YouTube. If it's a document, you are invited to upload it as a PDF or as a PowerPoint or as a Word document. Just to remind you to here click if you agree to share it publicly. If you agree to share it, then it will be placed on the platform and everyone would also be seeing this interaction of what are others doing and develop this sense of community. And then we will be sharing what would be the Laudato Si plan. Also, you can see what others have already uploaded. And this would be a reflection upon, now that you know where you're standing on, and review all of the suggested actions, but also reflecting on your values. Now, where would you like to go further? And this would be exactly what the Laudato Si plan is. So you are the expert on your needs, on your priorities, and you are warmly invited to create the plan that is best for you. As we have already mentioned, if you have already started a process, you can upload what you have already started. So please discern what would be the next steps for you, and you can continue with your journey to develop your Laudato Si plan. As well, you're invited to upload a document, PDF or Word, upload it, and also to agree if you would like to share it publicly. Once you have finished, all your dashboard will turn on to green. And after these steps, you will be finishing your yearly process. Just to remember that the self-assessment is optional, but if you have already uploaded your reflection and your plan, you would become and remain a Laudato Si congregation and community. People can enroll, as Father Josh mentioned, up until season of creation on October the 1st. And during this time, you can upload your plan, upload your reflection. And if you would like to decide to answer the self-assessment, you could also go and answer it. After that, well, year 2 will come and dates will be announced and have this specific place and promotion. So your commitment for caring for our common home is a sign of hope for all. You are invited to weave the spirit of joyful celebration into your efforts throughout the year. And in addition, there will be a global celebration for communities by the Dicastery for Promoting Integral Ecology. As well, you are invited to develop your own. Just the last part, we will also like to mention that we have a specific place for building together, and you will be seeing the most lately Laudato Si stories for participants and also who is participating on the platform. So we invite you to, if you would like to make the next step to start your process, and welcome to the Laudato Si Action platform. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maureen, for so carefully showing us all the developments that have taken place, and certainly encouraged others to be involved because of the flexibility which you've very well shared. I know this is a time of a little pause for people to write their questions. We will answer what we can at this point, and some of them because this is a journey, and you know this very well, Maureen, it takes a while, and you can see from the last session how much you've been able to develop with the movement. Just the program itself, taking into consideration all 7 sectors and looking at our whole church in all of the areas and all of the languages. So this is why this process takes a while, but we want to listen to each other, and some of the questions, we just can't get to all of them at once. But this is very helpful, and of course, this is being taped so people can go back and have access to this information. Also, we are looking at the languages. So let's pause a moment, give our translators a break. So could I start with you? Catalina, is there any questions from our Spanish group? Okay, can we hear one of them, please?
Yes, of course. I will say in Spanish. So, qué bueno que la plataforma compacte todo lo que se cuelga de la misma congregación.
It's good. It's so good that the platform actually puts together everything that has to do with the platform, and then puts together also all the groups and wherever the platform is present. The second aspect is when the tools keep coming up and the experiences are actually occurring, that we can actually put them on the platform and that everything is going to accumulate. And then the evaluation is a little bit complicated to be answered, mainly for the congregations that function in different countries with different currency and very different realities. And finally, I think that the question would be, can we upload the experience in a Word document or Excel document so it can be shared with all the sisters of the congregation, and that we can actually follow up on the actions that we come up with, and that but for this we need to know how can we upload the self-assessment in a PDF, and where do we have to click to download this?
I think this might, I think you need to, if you can you answer this question, Maureen?
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I think there is one really important about the self-assessment report. For those who have answered it from November 14 up until February the 20, we are in the process of sending them gradually for those who have already answered it. For those who answered it after February the 20, they will have kind of an immediate access. Once they answered it, they will receive an email in which they can download the report. So for those of you who have already answered it before those dates that I've mentioned, we will be gradually sending the self-assessment report, and you will receive an email in which you could download the document.
Okay, thank you, Maureen. Father Joseph, a question from you, please.
Okay, I have 25 questions.
Oh, no, you can't do those.
Okay, let me see. Maybe just
We will attend to them, but not at this session. Right, sure.
Yeah, I'm just trying to summarize some of them. One, concerning the registration. Somebody wants to know if the country, a congregation that are in 2 or 3 countries, and each community wants to register, can they register as one? And then when they register, I'm combining questions, and then when they register and upload, let's say a PowerPoint, will only those who have registered be able to see what you have uploaded? Or if somebody has not registered, can he have access? can they have access to what you have uploaded? So these two are together. We want to, somebody's asking for, has printing out a copy of self-assessment changed? The self-assessment copy, has it changed, or you can still print out a copy?
Let's stop at those three and
Yeah.
see what you can do with that. Thank Joseph, and we'll deal with the other 22 at some time too. Maureen,
Sure.
please.
For example, you can already, without enrolling, you can see what others have shared, their plans and their reflections. So you don't need to be enrolled to see what others have shared, but to share yours, you need to be enrolled on the platform. And about which countries, I mean, each congregation and each local community would discern how would it be best for them to enroll, if they would like to enroll as a whole or as by countries. But I think that the main thing to have in consideration would be the way to be answering the self-assessment. As right now it's flexible and you can decide how would you be answering it, or if you would like to answer it or not. It's just that we need to think that if you would like to be as a country, then you might need to think which would be the type of answers or information that you would like to be uploading. But that's kind of like,
I think some of the other questions will have to have frequently asked questions, so they will either probably appear on the Laudato Si Action platform and certainly Sowing Hope for the Planet. So we'll need to answer the other questions, but not all of them at this point. I think, let's see from the French group, and some may be answered with the next two presenters. Andreas, something from our French group, please.
Bonjour, Sheila.
Hello, Sheila. I have not seen any question in French, so the floor is back to Joseph because there are a lot of questions in English.
Okay, well, let's hold off on Joseph's only because we have two other presenters, and I know you won't lose them, Joseph. And some of these may be answered by what will be shared coming next. So hold on, don't feel that we're leaving this behind, but let's fold in some new information that I think may be very helpful. So those who have been working with the plan and also who have been working with their congregation. So I'd like to now introduce to you, thank you, Maureen, again, Brother Alberto Parisi. He's a Cambodian missionary. He's the director and member of the General Secretariat of the mission, worked in Nairobi, Kenya in urban ministry, and has taught social analysis at Tangaga College. Very systematic understanding of See, Judge, and Act methodology. And he's going to adopt now this Laudato Si Action process to congregational situations. So I think some of those questions that are in the chat may be answered with Brother Alberto's presentation. So please, Brother Alberto, we're ready for you.
Thank you, Sheila. I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so I'm just sharing our own experience. I have enrolled in the platform on behalf of our General Secretariat of Mission, which is not the congregation. It's just an office within the general direction. And of course, it's not a local community. So Father Josh was mentioning about, the need for flexibility. And this is a typical case because of that. So the General Secretariat of Mission, as I said, it's an office at the service of the General Council, and it has mainly three functions. An observatory on mission, the reality on the ground, and also the ongoing reflection on mission, but also what is happening in the world, the signs of the times. It has a function of accompaniment of communities and provinces, and also a function of fostering synodality, journeying together in communion with the church. And as we interpret our role, we find that we can be very resourceful for the congregation in terms of animation and helping the Comboni missionaries to join the platform at different levels. They may be the local communities, the provinces, or the congregations, and so forth. We started with an animation work. The idea, we really bought into the spirit of the Laudato Si Action platform that foresees a bottom-up movement. And in order to facilitate this within the congregation, we felt the need to have an animation, so an animation from the center. So we held awareness-raising webinars within the congregation. We used various avenues of internal communication to pass on the information about the platform. And also we contributed to the preparation for the next general chapter, which will be in June. And now we are trying to figure out how can we help different levels of the congregation to come up with a Laudato Si plan, which is based on the 7 Laudato Si goals, which are the ones that you see in on this slide. We can recall them: respond to the cry of the earth, respond to the cry of the poor, which are the overarching goals, then ecological economics and adoption of simple lifestyles, which are the main drivers, of the unsustainability we are experiencing in the world today. And then again, the ecological education and ecological spirituality, which are now very key goals in bringing about that cultural revolution Pope Francis is inviting us to undertake. And then community resilience and empowerment, which is the bottom line of the whole work. So how do we help our realities to engage these 7 Laudato Si goals? And we realized that we have to come up with a model that works for us. And we are working out this model. There are some basic assumptions that inspire this model, and there is an overall process which is based on what the Laudato Si planning guide is suggesting. Now, what is important? Why is the model important? Because the distance between decisions and their implementation, so in this case, the decision to undergo this conversion to integral ecology that the platform is proposing, so that distance is given by the existence of a process and a method, which shape a structured, systematic journey. And so what are our basic assumptions? Our engagement is about a conversion to integral ecology. This has to do with spirituality, with a vision, with meaning, with motivation. So it's not just another project to be added on top of so many projects we are already carrying out. Then the second assumption is that we want to build on what is already there, precisely because we are already maybe overstretched in many realities, and we cannot keep on adding new things. We need to build on what is there. We need to refocus what is there in line with the 7 Laudato Si goals. And then we know it is a journey in the spirit, because it's a journey of conversion. And, in the dynamics of spiritual life, what is important is discernment. And when we discern, the Spirit makes us some invitations. We see what is the next step. And it is very important to act on that invitation of the Spirit. And once we have done it, the Spirit will allow us to see what is the next step after that. And then, of course, the dimension of communion and synodality, within the Institute, but with the whole church as well. And so our model is based on the suggested phases that we find in the planning guide proposed by the platform. And so we have three phases. The first phase is reflect. And we start with reflecting on the Laudato Si goals. So we, first of all, identify the charismatic connections with the Laudato Si goals. Each one of the Laudato Si goals, how does it relate to our charism, the charism of the Comboni missionaries? And then, by doing this exercise, we ask ourselves, to what conversion are we called today? How are the signs of the times? How is this, are these 7 Laudato Si goals calling us to conversion? And then there is also another very important element in our model, that is the alignment with the 7 Laudato Si goals. We know that we are not starting from scratch. What have we done already so that we can build on that? And then now the discernment, after having done all that preparation, what are the invitations of the Holy Spirit? What are we called to? And once we have done this exercise, we have all that we need to put together our reflection and upload it on the platform. We are using this working sheet, that is the tool, that as you see in the first column, you have the Laudato Si goals. And then you see, we go on filling in, these windows here, these boxes, and this helps us to focus our reflection and eventually come up, with our reflection and our plan. Then the second phase is the action. It has to do with the planning and implementation. So the first task is to plan the activities. How do we go about that? Well, first of all, we need awareness of good practices for each one of the 7 Laudato Si goals. And the working group, the religious working group, is coming up with also some suggestions adapted for religious congregations. So we have a look at that, so that it's part of our ongoing formation to become more aware and also inspired, and also to be able to acknowledge what we are already doing in terms of good practices. And then, looking at the good practices and looking at the invitations of the Spirit, we design smart activities, activities that are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant to what we want to achieve, and time-bound. And then for each one of such activities, we are going to document a baseline. We are going to document what we have already done, and what is the situation at the beginning of our journey. And this is very important in order to measure progress. And also we need, for each one of these activities, to state what are our expected results, what do we want to achieve, what we expect to achieve through these activities. So this is very important to be able to evaluate our action, in the next phase. But basically, by doing this exercise, we will have our plan and we can upload it. This is the second worksheet that continues the first one. As you see, for each of the Laudato Si goals, we will design smart activities, and for each activity, the baseline and the expected results. So, putting it all together, this is how our Laudato Si plan will look like. You will have all the Laudato Si goals and then all the information that we have put together. And this is basically what we are going to upload at different levels. Then the second part of the third phase is about evaluation. So we have to carry out an evaluation exercise. So in the first place, we need to verify the implementation of the actions that we had planned, and we need also to verify the results, the expected results. And this is about efficiency. We want to assess the efficiency of our journey. But then we want also to be able to see the impact, that means the effectiveness of what we have done. And for doing that, again, the religious working group, within the platform, the religious sector is developing a tool that is called a sustainability report. It's a tool that enables us to document the economic, social, and environmental impacts of what we have done. And this is a very important tool because looks beyond efficiency into effectiveness. And so this is what we are going, we will produce eventually a report after this that we will upload as our own evaluation at the end of the year. And the third step or phase is celebration. Now, celebration is very, very important because it brings in a thanksgiving, we can say even Eucharistic, liturgical dimension into this. And in this exercise of celebration, we are going to have also this dimension of listening to the Word of God and to the Holy Spirit. And this is this celebration has also a reflective dimension, which will help us, continue with our ongoing discernment. But the celebration for us is also very important because of accountability. You see, since we have made a public commitment, we need to hold ourselves accountable publicly. That is what is going to be done through, first of all, our own evaluation that then will be made public, also through the platform, but also through the celebration. That means looking at this celebration, at this evaluation, together with other stakeholders in some events that we are going to organize. And so the outcome of all this process will be a new reflection. And there you have that a new cycle starts. So that is what will take us into the second year of our 7-year journey. And so in conclusion, this is how we are going to meet the essential requirements of the platforms. That means uploading an annual reflection statement, then uploading an annual Laudato Si plan, and an annual evaluation of the results of the implementation of our plan. Thank you. Sheila, your microphone.
Yeah, sorry. thank you, Brother Alberto, for so graphically and creatively giving us some tools to really move us through this reflection process, the planning process, the evaluation, and the celebration. I mean, it's a very engaging way of showing how this can be done. And certainly others have seen some connection to the work that they can do as well. So thank you again for sharing your expertise in such a clear and very practical way, actually. Thank you very much. So before we put some questions down, but before we take them, we want to go to our next speaker, who is Sister Greta Fernandez, who's a Holy Spirit missionary sister. She's on the general administration of her congregation, and she's worked in the area of social work in India and the United States. She's networked with other organizations like BVAT International in the UN and Styler Bank, which is an interesting concept in terms of the banking industry really engaging in the global market. And she is the coordinator of for the Sisters of the Initiative on the Laudato Si Action platform. And she has worked also with that platform. And so, Sister Greta, would you please share with us your journey as well?
Thank you, Sheila. I would like to share the screen. And I'm sharing with you some background information, how our journey began or when we began. This might help some of you who are also in similar situations. So we had our last general chapter, or the 2014 general chapter. We made a firm commitment to promote communion with creation. And then Laudato Si encyclical followed, which was studied by our sisters and reflections and in what way we can implement that. Then the 2015 Conference of the Parties, Paris Agreement on Global Warming, which we were aware of this, and we were also thinking in what way we can help in this implementing the Paris Agreement. Then 2016, as I said, we dedicated the whole year in year of creation to respond to the general chapter directions to promote communion with creation. So past 6 years, we have made many efforts to honor this commitment. At the same time, more than ever before, many of our sisters experience firsthand in their families and their home and mission countries what it means to be affected by natural disasters and environmental consequences of our human actions and inactions. And for the past few years, our mission projects are many of them towards helping the people with whom we work to rebuild their lives, especially due to natural disasters. They have lost everything. So this is what happened in 2015 creation as part of the spirituality. We had a novena for Pentecost based on communion with creation. Then we had, as Sheila mentioned, we had the Vivat International. So we had success stories, especially towards justice, peace, and integrity of creation and promoting human rights. Then we have this booklet, which was sharing good practices and identifying stories, which was contributed by our sisters. Just few examples, our sisters in 2016 onwards, many of them continued or they started new projects, not only to help ourselves, but help the people with whom we work and live with. And this is 2021 when the platform was introduced. In general, we made a brief statement to say that we support this initiative and we are with the Laudato Si platform, that we make a 7-year commitment and in the spirit of integral ecology. So I would like to read to you part of our commitment, as some of you must be, in this process. So it is posted on the dashboard. but then we made this commitment before doing the self-assessment and the plan. Our commitment to justice and for the integrity of creation and all life has prompted us to join and be part of the large network of individual and collective initiatives towards ecological conversion. We commit to continue to engage in ministries that protect and promote life and well-being of all creation. In the face of the pressing environmental challenges to all persons living on the earth, on our earth, we SSPS sisters take concrete steps like saying a total no to all single-use plastic, using renewable energy, reducing carbon footprints, being inclusive of the poor and vulnerable in our ministry, and to make conscious efforts to promote life-giving relationships. In partnership with other like-minded people, we will network to protect our common home and see how together we can implement sustainable development. In solidarity with the people affected, we oppose all irresponsible mining and deforestation for industrial and commercial purposes. So I use this, or we use this, in what way we SSPS sisters have opportunities by joining the platform and making our own plan. We think we are working in nearly 50 countries, so we have a common plan and we work with each other. And as Alberto has said, to make a contribution, we also said informed by our own charism to the common effort for integral ecology. Also to energize our specific mission as we respond to the cry of the earth and the poor. To experience global solidarity as a global church, journeying together for mutual transformation, broaden our horizon for fostering our global vision and mission. To implement UN Agenda of 2030 Sustainable Development Goals related to Laudato Si goals and to the priorities of our SSPS mission. To commit SSPS individually and as a community to complete the transition to integral ecology within 7 years of care for our common home. So this is what all of us, if we join the platform, we will have to do this. As we have already listened from Brother Alberto, a common broad framework of making a public statement, part of our commitment I already read out to you, and based on our charism and spirituality, also in keeping in mind the importance of integral ecology. So raising awareness about Laudato Si, which I will explain in the next slide, and then what it means for us, the goals of Laudato Si, and then invitation to contribute. So there are 4 areas. First is to define the goals and to see what practical actions our religious community can contribute, then make a public statement, and then transition to ecology and journeying together, which is very important. Then to share and celebrate our successes and our accomplishments. So what we did in 2021, our reflection is posted on the dashboard. If you have time, please watch it. And it is also, we have kind of not only reflection and commitment, but also inviting others to join this. Our sisters prepared or composed songs in different languages, also asking others to join, and also the seriousness of the climate crisis. And it is time now to join the platform to save our common home. So songs are produced in Spanish, Portuguese, English, Hindi, and Ukrainian languages. We organized webinars on sustainability, electromobility, passion for mission, eco-justice, and social justice. These webinars were organized for JPIC promoters, treasurers, provincials, regionals, encouraging them as provinces and regions to be part of the common plan and journey together. So then, as some of you have experienced, our general chapter was delayed by almost 2 years. So since the general chapter was coming, we said we wait, and then my office submitted a proposal to the delegates of the 15th general chapter, which was held in this year, January. So the In the directions, the proposal which was submitted was included, especially to listen to the cry of the earth and to respond to the cry of the poor. So for sisters, for us, we are again invited to continue to set out on the path of ecological conversion and sustainable development. For us SSPS, both are understood as an ethical imperative. So work in progress. So preparing a short survey questionnaire to understand what each province is already doing to address the 7 goals of Laudato Si. This could help in self-assessment, as many of us have many questions about self-assessment and what our sisters plan to do for the next 7 years from what they are doing, if they plan to do anything new. So by June 2022, we hope to have a common plan for our congregation. So some of the challenges, internal, there are some sisters who think that we are already doing it. So to encourage them to build on what we are doing. Then our realities in different provinces and regions varies. So when we make a common plan, it could be a challenge. Also smart priorities, to have them specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time bound. Then we have already discussed about the website. Though detailed information is very helpful, I found it self-assessment for a congregation is not very realistic, because I did it, part of it I did it. There was a survey in the beginning, a short one. Once you do that, then we were asked to do self-assessment. Since we enrolled as a congregation, the self-assessment was more for a local community or a family or a single institute. The other one is 7-year plan for 7 goals is too broad to make it at one point, because you are making for 7 years, it's so many things are involved in that. So better to make yearly plan for 7 consecutive years with the periodic evaluations. So I thank you. And in conclusion, I would like to quote Laudato Si, paragraph 14. Whether as an individual or in the community, everyone has many opportunities to do something, starting with small actions, as Pope Francis reminds us. All of us can cooperate as instruments of God for the care of creation, each according to his or her own culture, experience, involvements, and talents. So I encourage you to be part of this 7-year journey towards an integral ecology, and let us do our best in achieving the 7 goals of Laudato Si action plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Greta, for taking us through these many years of preparation and then involvement. So helping the religious see how they can include all the work that they've done before and then bring it into this new way of being at the Laudato Si action platform, and then encouraging others to be involved as they can be, with this total journey, mentioning the involvement with your general chapter, and then all the other connections that you have. And we are so grateful for the work that you've done. Thank you so much, Greta. Thank you. And on the website, Laudato Si website, there's a beautiful video that they've done. That's part of their commitment, and it's very, very engaging. So thank you for that as well. So let's pause for a few moments for any questions now that you may have. And I know we'll have to answer them other ways, but some questions.
Maybe one quick one related to Brother Alberto. Can Brother Alberto's worksheet be available on the Sowing Hope for Planet?
Yes, actually, I have already shared the presentation in the chat. So if you check in the chat of Zoom, you can download a PDF file, and you have the whole presentation there.
And it will also be on Sowing Hope for the Planet. Yes, thank you. Okay. All right, Sister Catalina, have you a question, please, from the Spanish group?
No hay preguntas, solamente
No
comentarios.
questions for this from the Spanish group, but just saying that the presentation from Brother Alberto was very creative, very clear, and very concrete. So thank you so much.
Brother Alberto, and Sister Greta also.
Okay, thank you. Andreas, anything from the French group, please?
Je ne vois rien en français aujourd'hui. Je suis seul.
We don't have any comments today.
Okay,
I'm alone today. So I said,
Okay. Is there any other question or comment? Joseph, do you have any more questions or comments for either Alberto or for Sister Greta?
No, for the
Okay.
last two, no.
Okay.
Most of the questions are pertaining to the
Okay. Okay, let's go. So this was the examples were very helpful to put some of the things that Maureen has said, into a practice. So we have some time yet to go back to the questions that we know we have related to Maureen's talk, and see if in looking at the questions, you may see that they were answered this time around. But Father Joseph, have you any questions for Maureen?
Yeah, I'm just trying to see which ones to pick. Some have been answered.
Good.
For this,
While you look at that, then I'll see. Kathleen, do you have any questions for the Spanish group? No? Okay. All right, Joseph, it's all yours.
Yeah, okay. Then let me just read here. If there is no self-assessment, is there any place for a religious congregation to put basic survey results of where we are as we begin?
Yeah, that's part of the plan.
Yeah, these types of maybe diagnosis or information that you would be developing could be placed within the plan. So this would be like a backup on what would be the result on your planning. So this could be a space in which you could have one document that contains all of these aspects.
And Brother Alberto gave you some examples of how to do that too. Thank you.
Then concerning dates, somebody wants to ask, did I hear that the enrollment then is extended until October 4 or November 14th?
Yes, the enrollment is open up until October the 4th. And within that date, those who have already enrolled have the opportunity to upload their planning and the reflection. And of course, for those who have not joined the platform, you are very welcome to make your enrollment within this time frame.
And then the 14th, though, that's closed, and then on November 14th, it starts up again. And you can imagine all the work they have to look at, the whole platform, and they need some space to do that. So, okay, thank you.
Sister Sheila, I wanted to share that right now, some of the members of the Laudato Si Action platform are making confirmations of enrollments. So you would be receiving gradually an email confirming your enrollment, because we have received some members that wanted to make their enrollment as individuals or as corporal commitments. So we are going with each enrollee asking this by email. So you will be gradually receiving this verification confirmation after your enrollment.
Yeah, but remember, we're trying to make this collective collective working together. That's so important. This is about us working together, not just as individuals. So thank you for that. Father Joseph.
Yeah, Maureen, there's one question here. If we are registering as a province or region of a congregation, should we put the congregation, region, province, official name, or the name by which we are known in that country?
I think Brother Alberto should answer that question. Brother Alberto, because you're dealing with that. Please take that question.
Yes. Well, my thinking is that the more enrollments we have, the better, because even within a congregation, you may have multiple enrollments, different communities joining as local communities, different provinces, and so forth. So I think, the important thing is internal communication, that you are aware and you try also to connect and to coordinate within the same congregation. But I imagine that the more enrollments within a congregation, the better for the congregation, but also for the movement.
The other thing,
let me clarify the question.
Okay.
I think that is not a question.
No.
He's asking, there are societies with official names. Let me give you an example, my own examples. Let me use the example of the Salesians. The Salesians, their official name is SDB, Salesians of Don Bosco, but they are known as Salesians. So when they are registering, should they register as Salesians of Don Bosco, or is it enough to say Salesians?
Well, I think it's important for an internal coordination because precisely because you may have multiple enrollments, you run the risk of using different denominations, different languages, and of course, that will make it more difficult then for you to monitor, how you are moving together. My suggestion would be that you decide within the congregation, how you would like to join, and you make sure that all your all your communities and circumscriptions and so on use the same wording. For example, for the Comboni missionaries, I would recommend that we register as MCCJ dash and the name of the community or the province that is joining. In that way, it will be much easier eventually to connect and to also to appear in the platform as a how can I say as a congregation.
Yeah. Maureen, would you agree with that? As he expired that.
Yes, and I do agree that to have a unity of name as a congregation and communities, so that you could easily find, and for us, if you would like support from us, it's easy for us to know the name that you would all be referring.
Thank you, Maureen. Brother Joseph, again, please.
I think more or less we have touched. Somebody probably did, but I think this one is obvious. Can the new contact person who is appointed take over the original persons? So, religion, sometimes we change. So if somebody has been replaced, can a new person take over? And how does he go about changing maybe email address or other things?
Yes, my suggestion would be to develop a generic email so that if someone goes, then the email keeps the same. The name can be changed, but the email cannot, because the email is related to the account. So I would suggest to have like a general email that if someone takes place of the project or the initiative, it would be easily for them to switch.
Okay, thank you, Maureen.
Thank you, Maureen. That's very
good. Okay. So the last presentation took care of about 20 of those questions. That sounds very good. So this is great. So no more from Catalina. And so this is not to say that we're finished with this platform, because as you know, we're continuing to grow and develop, and your input is so important for this journey. And some of you may take 7 years, some of you may be finished in 3. So it's not a necessary prerogative that you have to take that length of time. It's trying to give you latitude so you don't feel, oh my goodness, I have to get this all done. So I would like at this moment to thank everyone who participated in this webinar and shared your experiences, both the presenters and for the questions that you asked, as well as those who were gathering all those questions. The translators, for goodness sakes, you were doing a wonderful job in carrying forward our message. The technicians that worked with Ricardo, all of you, whatever you've been able to contribute has been really priceless and important for us. And thank you, Brother Joseph, for bringing us in with our prayer. to help us be prepared for this session. So these are two websites that we want you to remember: Sowing Hope for the Planet, which has a number of resources, and we are sharing what we have with the Laudato Si Action Platform, because we're trying to learn can we go together and yet also honor the uniqueness. So we don't want to lose that. That's our charism and that's our gift. And so with that, I wish you again a blessed Lent and a joyous Easter and Pentecost. And we continue to journey together, and we'll meet again during Laudato Si, the week of Laudato Si. So thank you, all of you. God bless. And it will be on the website, Sowing Hope for the Planet. This will be recorded as soon as we can do that. God bless you.
Thank you. Thank you, Sheila.
Thank you. There you go. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, Sheila.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Lucretia.
Thank you.
All of you.
Thank you. It was excellent answering so many questions.
Yes.
Gracias.
We were working
Alberto, ha
on
sido muy claro.
Very
helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Muchas
Very
gracias.
much.
Gracias, Sheila.
Bye,
Por
Andrea.
tu
See you.
trabajo y tu pasión.
Andreas.
Gracias.
Alberto.
Thank you so much.
Ajá. Chao, chao.
Asante. Grazie Riccardo.
Prego, prego. Allora, come al solito, domani ti mando, domani o dopodomani, insomma, penso domani ti riesco, ah no, domani è sabato.
Lunedì.
Lunedì, sì, scusami, hai ragione. Lunedì ti mando tutto quanto, va bene?
Benissimo.
Perfetto,
Grazie
va bene.
mille Riccardo.
Prego, ciao ciao.
Ciao.
Buon weekend a
Grazie.
tutti.
Altrettanto, grazie.